You must be desperate having me on today.
Oh, no.
No, with this is Scott. This is basically a step up for us, man. This is
Oh,
a step up. Yeah, isn't it, Dwayne?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody listens to the voice of Oak Shade Speedway, and Hammer Down Report. But that's one reason why I get you on talk about the podcast, because I know, it kind of was a shockwave come across, social media there about a month ago when iHeart said there was, eliminate your job basically there in Toledo, and you've been on there forever, and the Hammer Down Report's been going on, and I even had people call me. He's like, "Man, what's gonna?" I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure they'll work something out." And for those that's never tuned in, definitely check out the Hammer Down Report. And I know you got some things going, but Scott's kind of unemployed right now, so maybe you can find a job in the racing industry there, Scott.
that would be awesome. Something digital marketing racing. That'd be like my perfect dream job. So,
Scott, give us a little history. You told us off air that you were actually a Bryan guy at one time.
yeah, my dad moved to Bryan in, I want to say like 81 or something. So I was in second grade and brought the family out there. Started Washington Elementary School. I guess there's only one elementary school out there now. But yeah, I went up through freshman year at Bryan High School, the old Bryan High School, I guess now.
Yeah.
And then we moved up to the Detroit area. So I spent most of the 80s in Bryan. Very, very fun time. Actually, right down the street from Bryan Motor Speedway. So always heard the announcers in the cars going on a Sunday night. And I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, can we go to Bryan to the races? Can we go? Can we go?" And he begrudgingly took me every Sunday night, or just about every Sunday night.
Wow, that's kind of unusual because in almost all the stories that we've had, Dwayne, and you could back me up on this, most of the time it's dad and mom dragging the kid to the races, and that's how they get that taste of everything. This is just the opposite of that, isn't it?
That's right. And, that's what we look for nowadays. A lot of people's doing promotions for kids to try to get them to show up there. Then that's always been the deal behind it. Get the kids hooked, like Oak Shade did the bike giveaways. Fremont does some, and different tracks do different things. Is get the kid wanting to come back begging mom and dad each week. And it sounds like Scott was a perfect example of that.
Yeah. I mean, we had a sandbox. I had my own little racetrack in there, and we had a lot of fun as a kid. And that's important with racing today. I mean, a lot of tracks are trying to do that to get the kids in there because they're the future fans that are going to keep the sport going.
Well, yeah, especially, and you're living proof of it too. This pandemic's been tough on a lot of tracks. Being the house announcer at Oak Shade, I mean, they're the first month or so of the season, you guys couldn't even have any fans.
Yeah, there was I want to say 2 or 3 weeks there where, it was pretty awkward. And I got the call from Pam over there asking about, announcing. I'm like, what do you need an announcer for? You don't have any fans. He's like, oh, there'll be people in the pits though. We're like, all right. So, we went out there. We were just kind of hanging out in the grandstands with the cordless mic with nobody there. It was kind of surreal, but it was nice to get the fans back later in the season, and actually turned out to be a pretty decent season out there considering, all the restrictions and everything. We just didn't have the big special shows, but we had more races this year than we did the year before because of weather.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing. Jim and I have talked to a lot of people. The places that have raced, once they got fans, seem to did pretty good because, with restrictions and some tracks not opening up at all, especially in our region, people are definitely itching to get to the racetrack. And I think it actually helped the tracks that were open, even though they had restriction on fans.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much else to do. Everything else was shut down, and there was a lot that went on behind the scenes. Talking to different promoters, I'm sure you're aware of it as well. Just to be able to get racing to happen.
Yes.
Fremont took a while to get going there, but I mean, it was great to finally have something to do, some sense of normalcy.
Yes, and I admire what you do over with Oak Shade because it's kind of tough because you got to find somebody to help you announce because you'll announce, 3/4 of the races then you got to take a little break and go jump in your race car and race, and then come back and announce. And that's got to be tough some nights too.
It can be a challenge. Every week I got to find somebody to help me out, at least in years past. This year, Jerry Keyser came on board and pretty much was there every week helping me out. And then we brought him on board onto the Hammer Down Racing Report, and he's been a great asset on there. He's down from the Lima area, so he kind of covers things down there. And he's also a great announcer too. So.
Yeah, I've known Jerry for a long time. He's also, I'm pretty sure he's related to Randy LaJoy too. I mean, they go way back from what I hear. You just have to ask him about that.
I'll have to ask him about that. Yeah, there's a lot of racing in his family. I know.
So Scott, tell us a little bit about what kind of car do you race then over at Oakshade?
I race in the bomber class. It's a stock car. I've been same car for years now. Actually, doing the announcing, I started announcing down at Millstream, or Flag City it was called, in Findlay in the late 90s, and then moved over to Oakshade and was watching these guys race every year. It's like, man, I want to get in on this. And then we put together these celebrity charity races, which was kind of an excuse for me to borrow a car and do a little race. But we also raised money for a good cause. And then, you know, I kind of had the bug from that point on, as Ron Miller would describe it as. And I talked to one of the guys that race out at Oakshade. He sold me his car, and been doing it since then. It's just pretty much a stock car. Everything's bent to hell underneath of it. So I'm in a bad spot being unemployed now, when I had a lot of plans during the off season for the car. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, Jim's got a lot of money, Scott, so maybe he just, send you some of his. I mean, he likes helping people. So Jim will send you a check here in a couple of days.
All right, cool. We'll put a sticker on the car then.
There you go. Just tell me how much you need, Scott, and it'll be on its way over there. How's that?
How much you got?
Yeah, just don't cash the check, okay? I mean, somehow you gotta wave the check at a guy like Dwayne when you're looking for parts and going, I'm gonna cash this pretty soon. So can you give me that $10,000 worth of parts here? And as soon as I cash this, I'll send you the check. That's how that works. How's that?
That'll work.
So how did you get into racing then? I mean, you're right next to the racetrack in Bryan. You kind of got the bug when you were a kid. What caused you to take that first step and actually go out and find that car and race that first race?
Well, like I said, I've always been a racing fan, and I wanted to get into radio. So I went to college, got into radio, was working in radio. One of our sales guys was doing a meeting with the promoter at Flag City Motorsports at the time. And I jokingly had said to him, hey, ask him if they need an announcer. And the guy came back in, the salesperson. He's like, hey, he wants to talk to you. So I went and talked to him. He's like, what are you doing Sunday? Like, come on down Sunday. I'm like, okay. No, I mean, being a radio guy, a rock radio guy at that, I'm used to saying, hey, that was such and such, and we got such and such coming up, talk for a minute, maybe at the most, maybe 30 seconds. And so I go down there and I'm just totally out. I'm like, cool racing, cool microphone. What do I do? Just kind of learned by trial and by fire. And then, like I said, years of watching guys race, talking about it. And I'm not really a gearhead, but I've learned quite a bit. I can swap a motor now. Things kind of aligned. The money came into my pocket, and the guy was selling his car, looking to move up in division. So things just kind of worked out that way, and I've been enjoying it ever since. I think the most stressful part of racing is being able to find somebody to announce for me or to help me announce. That's the biggest challenge each week.
Yeah, I'm sure. Scott Hammer is with us right now. We're on the throttle. Scott, being an old radio guy, you know what this is all about. We need to step away for just a minute, pay some bills. It is 12:22 on the cue. When we come back, we'll get into racing and what happens around the area. What happened at Oakshade, what's happening with Scott and Hammer Down Racing when we get back here on the throttle on the Q, 96.5 FM. $25 after 12 on the throttle. Back talking racing here with Dwayne Hancock and Scott Hammer. How's that? Scott, the one thing you understand is I have one living brain cell left here in this job too. So you can understand that. You've been in the radio business long enough.
Absolutely. You got half more than I do.
So let's talk about your program right now. Since iHeart basically did what they wanted to do, okay, you basically decided that there was enough interest that you could keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really rely on iHeart that much. The most part of our audience views our videos at Facebook.com/Hammerdown Racer Report. All our shows are on there. We do it on YouTube and, like I said, Twitter as well. But and it is also available on demand on any of the regular podcasting platforms: iTunes, Google, iHeartRadio. So it's kind of a mutual beneficial thing. We're providing programming for iHeartRadio, and iHeartRadio, gets some more listeners, maybe 2 or 3, however many we have, whatever. But and one thing I forgot to mention, we have been nominated for, I don't think the Toledo City paper goes out to Brian so much, but they have a Best of Toledo promotion they do every year, and for the second time, the Hammerdown Racing Report has been nominated as one of the best local podcasts in Toledo. So we're very honored about that. We didn't win the first year. It's currently voting is going on right now for that. So we're trying to win this year. We have some pretty stout competition, but we're trying to stuff that ballot box and not get accused of voter fraud.
That's right. I was going to bring that up because I actually went and voted again today. I voted. I haven't voted every day, but I've voted quite a bit. So definitely any racing program like that. Just happens I happen to be friends with everybody at that program. But get online. It's easy to do. Get online and vote for them. And better yet, listen to them on a Thursday night. You guys got a lot of good sponsors too. I mean, obviously Ron Miller there with Ron Miller Race Cars, but I know Big D's Pizza, and he's actually since I've been on shows, helped some stuff with the AFCS series and stuff. And you got
he helped out a lot of racers
there. Yes. Yeah.
Cap Henry. I mean, he was excited to get hooked up with Cap Henry earlier this year. So, I mean, yeah, Dean Henry over there, Big D's, huge supporter of racing.
Yes. And it's neat because, I've been on your program before. We had Ron on, ours, we got you on, but it just shows you everybody can work together. And just like that, Dean's a big supporter, and he likes some of the stuff, like our annual Hoserville, Ohio auction. After you guys had me on, he's like, man, I'm donating some pizzas and some different things. And it's just works out pretty neat. And that's what the racing community is all about.
Yeah. And without the sponsors, I mean, we use a streaming service that, we have a hard cost on. We don't make any money doing this. We just do it because we love it. But at least this way, we're not losing money doing it with the sponsors supporting us. And actually, we have another sponsor coming on at our next show, the first Thursday there in December, that we're pretty excited about too.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, that is.
Not sure if I should divulge that just yet, but yeah.
Well, one thing you need to divulge is if somebody that's listening right now, because we do have quite a few folks that listen to this every week. If somebody's listening and they want to get up and vote for you, okay. Obviously, Dwayne's voted 172 times already, but there are other people that can do the same thing. Where would they go to vote for Hammer Down?
Well, we have a post with a direct link. It's pinned on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report, all scrunched together into one word there. And that first post right at the top of the page will link you to it's the media category on the Toledo City paper website. You scroll down a few of those categories and you get the local podcast. Place your vote there. A couple categories above us is meteorologist, and we have Ryan Weekman on during the race season doing our weekend weather pit stop, given the forecast for the different tracks that are in action. So he's also nominated. So give him a nomination or a vote as well.
Yes, he does forecast for, like I said, all the local Attica, Fremont, Oakshade, Toledo, and all that. He does a great job there. And a trick on the voting for, we was talking about rigged elections. You can vote for each email that you have too. So if you're a guy like me that has 5 emails, you can vote 5 times a day instead of just once. That's what I've heard.
I have no comment on that, but go for it.
Yeah. Other than vote early and vote often. That's all we're going to say, right?
Right.
No doubt. Who's the competition this year? You said you had some pretty healthy competition. Who else is out there?
I'd rather not talk about. Actually, there's one. I'd rather not talk about them.
Okay, well, give them to me in general. Are they other racing shows, or are there? Okay,
no, and that's one thing that's kind of cool about this is we are a very niche show. I mean, we talk about racing. These other ones, yes. I think one of them's like the 419 grind, which is kind of just like about Toledo stuff. It's pretty open. I mean, a lot of them are very general, whereas ours is very focused. So we have, our audience is pretty big and very supportive, which is great, but we don't have that huge umbrella that we're targeting for listeners. We're not talking about, just things that appeal to everybody. We're talking about stuff that appeals to race fans.
Yes.
And racers, I guess.
Yeah.
Race fans and racers.
Yep. Yeah. Because you got a big following, but it's not like I said, yours is a kind of a niche deal. It's a one focus group where the other ones are everybody. So we need to get out there and vote as much as possible for that. But like I said, you guys do a good deal. And Ron Miller, we had him on the show. What can you say about him? I mean, all the experience he has. I mean, you guys became pretty good friends. I know he's helped you a lot out with your race car and that, or advice at least and stuff, or with the race car and that. That's got to help having somebody like that in your corner too.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's like my second father is pretty much what I call him. But he used to do a show. He's done several shows actually, Motorsports Talk, and I was producing that years ago. And then when I had the idea to do this podcast a few years ago, he was the first person that I got in touch with. I was like, hey, you want to do this? He's like, yeah, sure. He likes to hear himself talk, which is cool. But yeah, anytime something's wrong on my car or I need, and it's not just me, he'll help anybody. He's the first person I'll go to. I'm like, hey, this looks a little weird. What do you think? What should I do? He'll let me know, or he'll say, load up the car, bring it over. We'll take care of it. So definitely a big help.
Well, I think that's one thing. He's still racing, and he's been racing for 50 plus years, almost 60 years, I think. And I think he gets you don't get sidetracked, but it's hard for him to race some nights over there because, like I said, he'll help anybody. And I've been over to Oakshade more this year than I have in the last couple combined. And and we helped out with the late model deal there this year too. And you always see somebody at his trailer. I mean, he's trying to work on his car and talking, but there's always somebody at his trailer asking for some type of advice or something.
Yeah, definitely. And he actually was planning to step away this year, or step back, I guess, and not run a full season because he wanted to run he's got an Outlaw late model. But with all the restrictions and everything, all the Outlaw shows, I guess, didn't really happen. So he is looking forward to the hangover races, Sandusky Speedway. He's won so many. I think the only person that's beat him is his son, and that was last year, I believe, or the year before. I don't remember. But yeah, Ron loves racing in the snow with his he didn't even win Outlaw last year, but yeah, that's it. He always brags that he's got the first win of the season.
Right. There you go. Well,
that's fun. That is fun. So Scott, tell me, let's look back at this year that you guys just spent with the racing and not only you racing personally, but announcing. What was maybe the best Saturday night that you've had in the season this past year? What are the highlights or the memories you got from 2020, the COVID year?
Well, racing, I don't have so many good memories for this season. Like I said, I'm a low budget racer, so if it's not totally destroyed, it doesn't get fixed. But there's a lot of stuff bent under I got both the rear wheels of my car are pointing in different directions, and they pretty much have been all season because it's been banged up so bad. So on the track, haven't had too much success, and I did have one of the hardest hits I've ever had this past season, and which took the wind out of me pretty good. But those are the lowlights. I guess the highlight was I went to Montpelier Speedway in Indiana there to run the Monster Mash, and actually made the show there, and it was pretty fun not having to worry about the announcing responsibilities, just focus on trying to race. So we had a lot of fun there, and hope to be back to that.
Yeah, that's a good track to go race at for sure.
Yeah, they got some monster banking and monster cushion at that track.
Yeah, that's it's actually where my one and done fame of night I ran the modified with Brad Johnson and for Hillard Miller was my driving coach. That's actually where I went and Mayday, Maine with 34 modifieds and thought, something was wrong. Must have been a timing error, but they said I made it. So, but yeah, it's a neat little place. And yeah, that hit, you got a video of that too. And man, that in-car deal, that's a pretty vicious hit you took earlier this year, especially at Oakshade, because I mean, it was right there off turn 2, about the fastest spot of the track.
Yeah, it was actually off of turn 4. And
after turn 4, okay.
Yeah, I was raised, there was a guy right in front of me. And I was kind of disappointed the camera tilted down because of the hit. I wanted to see what happened to me because I wasn't sure if I hit the steering wheel or not. But yeah, a guy spun out in front of the guy in front of me. So, I mean, the car in front of me totally blocked the view. Had no idea what was going on. So I'm on the gas hard as heck coming off the corner. And all of a sudden, with the guy in front of me, all I see is his back end. And all of a sudden the back end stops. No time to react at all, just full bore into the back of his car because he hit the car that spun. And I kind of felt bad for him because he got it, hitting the guy in front of him and from behind. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, that gets your attention. And it's like, yeah, I guess we are going faster than we thought.
Well, yeah, and it just shows that safety equipment, some of these tracks, I don't want to say whack on it, but some of them, especially if you do a little traveling, you see it shows how important safety equipment is. And you get tracks like Oakshade and that pushing that stuff, but our area, we're pretty good with the safety equipment, but there's some areas right there, just watching that video is proof why you want some pretty decent safety equipment no matter what division you're running.
Yeah, and Ron will tell you he sells it, and that's actually where I got my stuff. So great belts, and yeah, definitely. He said I was going to be feeling it the next day, and I was actually fine. So
that's good.
Definitely thankful for that.
Well, so now
go ahead, Jim.
I'm sorry. So Scott, now put your race, your announcer's hat on now. What was the best race you saw all year long?
Oh, heck. I wasn't prepared for that question.
Every week, right?
Yeah, every week.
Go to Shane, watch.
I mean, there was some pretty crazy stuff we had this year at Oakshade. There was, with the weather is big on track conditions, and last year it was definitely real wet. This year we were blessed with super dry conditions, but that can be also bad for the track as well. So there were some nights the track was pretty rough, but we had a lot of cars get upside down this year. Even to our champion from the past 3 years, Devin Shields, he got upside down early, and I think that kind of hurt him in trying to make it 4 in a row this year for the late model championship. But there's a lot of times the best races is in the lower classes at the end of the night. You get the side-by-side finishes, but I enjoy all the racing. We'll just leave that way.
Oh yeah,
that's a very diplomatic way of saying that, Scott. How's that? All right, Dwayne, hang on to that question. We need to take one more break here. It's 12:40. When we come back, I want to continue with our race talking with Scott Hammer and also look ahead because there's probably a race or two that Dwayne Hancock and Scott Hammer know about for this weekend or next weekend that you and I may not understand is going on. So we'll clue you in on that if you're looking for a good Turkey Day race. We're on the throttle in the Q, 96.5 FM.
I mean, who would have thought, even last Saturday when I went to Pennsylvania, it was 57 degrees when I pulled in on a Saturday in November. I mean, for an outdoor race, you just got very lucky all year round with stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, when we were at Montpelier, what was it? I think that was, I don't even remember, was that a couple weekends ago? But yeah, it was like 70 degrees out, and I'm like, this is like perfect racing weather.
Yeah, in November.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And hopefully we talked a little bit when it wasn't on air about Millstream, but the snowball deal, it's always been a good deal, or hangover race,
Hangover race, yeah.
over to hangover race at Sandusky, and now Millstream back-to-back deal, same rules, the way it sounds, trying. And I know I've talked to some of the people who's going to race at least the Millstream one, so you never know. It could be, we might not be able to throw snowballs the way this year's been. Of course, that'd be 2021, but 2020 will probably try to be sneaking in there yet, but never know. But yeah, we've been very blessed, as you said, with good weather.
And Ron Miller had a lot to do with the Hangover 2, they're calling it, for Millstream, which is going to be the day after January 2nd, which is a Saturday. So there was that conversation was going on for, I'd say, since July. It's like, hey, why don't you do this? You don't have to worry about getting too big of a crowd to deal with the restrictions. You should be all right there. You don't have to worry about track prep, except for maybe plowing some snow off the track. But yeah, and finally talked Scott into doing it, and and another reason he kind of wanted to do this was because originally they were going to reopen Millstream this past summer, but just couldn't do it because of the constrictions or the restrictions down there in Hancock County. And Dwayne Hancock, you have something to do with that county? I just now put that together.
I'll make sure we do now. Say open to all racetracks.
Yeah. So he wanted to kind of, make it seem like, the people down there have been disappointed a lot with, a lot of promises. The track's reopening, then it closes. Track's reopening, then it doesn't. So he wanted to kind of make it seem real. And it's like, well, yeah, we're going to have this race. It's going to happen. The same rules as Sandusky. So he's been talking to the guys over there, and they've been helping him out a lot as well. So definitely looking forward to that plan. I'm planning to run both those races.
Awesome.
Going to be doing Jerry and I will be doing some of the announcing there at Millstream as well. So that ought to be interesting.
Cool. That's good. See, anybody that's watching our show, you want to go watch Scott race and see Millstream open back up. And to me, that's a good night for him to open too. Like I said, being new to the promotion part, and it won't be overwhelming. Get a race, just see how, get used to how everything is, and like I said, not with an overwhelming crowd. And
it's a just for fun event. It's not a serious deal too. So that kind of helps too. Takes a little bit of that pressure off.
Right.
Scott, before I let you go, I would be remiss to not get your take on Dwayne's series, the AFCS. What Dwayne has done in the last year with this thing, I think, is remarkable.
Last 2 years. He's done.
Well, the first year we're going to, it was kind of shaky. If you'd seen the behind the scenes effort in the whole thing. But no, the last 2 years, you're correct.
No, he's done a great job with that. Ron saw how great it was. He did with that first year, even if some stuff was going on behind the scenes we didn't know about. That he's like, well, hey, get us some sponsors for the late model deal, the Attica Oakshade late model challenge, and you came through on that. So give you a racetrack or something, and maybe you'll promote the hell out of that too.
Hey, I would like that.
Yeah.
My pocketbook, I don't have Jim Funderburg money, so it's hard for me to do that. But that would be like your dream job of the digital marketing and that and racing. Having a track would be awesome, but you never know. Maybe one of these days.
Be careful what you ask for. I'm sure that's a huge undertaking.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, well, I appreciate your kind words there too. And hopefully we can get something going again for late models. I know we've talked to a few people, and you know how it is during the season. There's a lot of people like, oh, well, we'd help you too. So maybe we can get a few more people added to that deal, because the goal is to keep growing that deal too for the Attica Oakshade late model series. Why not? We're already there, and we did some promotions for late models at Attica, kind of piggybacked off our deal, and people are asking me about it. I said, well, yeah, why not? And then this deal kind of presented itself. So hopefully we can keep growing that too.
Yeah, definitely an incredible job. Especially given the circumstances of this year, and even going into next year with the uncertainty of everything.
Yeah. That's the big thing is, what is going to happen at the beginning of next year. Hopefully it'll be good. I guess we'll find out here in a few months.
Yeah.
So.
Reality, Scott, is Dwayne Hancock is as cool as the bottom side of a pillow every day, man. That's the kind of guy that he is, you know.
It's the best side of the pillow.
That's exactly it. That is the way that the man handles everything that he does every week. There's no doubt. Hey, it's time for us to wrap things up here. Scott, one more time for folks that are looking to catch your program, the Hammer Down program. How do they do that?
Best way is just make sure to follow us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Hammerdown Racing Report. Or you could just do a Google search for Hammer Down Racing Report. You'll see a bunch of different ways to listen to us.
Fantastic. Dwayne Hancock, where are you heading this weekend if you're going racing anywhere?
I don't know if I am or not. I thought about going to Tennessee to the Gobbler race down at 411 because I think some of our local guys might be going down there. I know Brad Eichenauer was talking about it and the Robertsons and that. So I know we'll see, but I probably can't make it Friday there. So I don't know if I'm going to go just for one day. So might stay home for these next couple of weeks. We'll see and work on sponsorships for the series and stuff. You got to do that. You got to fit time in there for that too. It's time of year to do that. So probably be home working on stuff like that. We got a lot done this past weekend with that. So maybe a couple more weekends and we can get some really things solid for next year already.
No doubt. Well, I'll tell you what, the one thing you can count on is next Monday, right after the noon news, right here on the Q 96.5 FM. Dwayne and I will be talking racing one more time. Scott, thank you for your participation today and all the wonderful things you do. I'm sure this will not be the last time you'll be with us on the throttle.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.
That'll wrap it up for this week's version of On the Throttle. Dwayne Hancock is on his way to make his millions and eat how much turkey are you going to eat this week, Dwayne? Maybe that should have been a better question for you.
I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Usually we don't have turkey on Thanksgiving. Usually we just do something real small. And with being this year the way it is, who knows? A lot of times we'll barbecue bratwurst and burgers on the grill and make it a nice little time.
There you go. I'm sure that's a code, Scott, for he's doing big, thick steaks. I mean, the big ones,
Is he inviting me over?
Yeah,
sure. Come on over.
All right.
Come on over. Usually, if steaks are in little blue cans that say cold beverage, then we got steaks too.
All right.
That'll do it for us today on the throttle. It's about 5 before 1 o'clock. Time for me to close the doors on the dome. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock here on the Q 96.5 FM.